What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about hazard pay, so Amazon's bonus hazard pay. We're also going to talk about this letter that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer sent to Mitch McConnell. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk about poll numbers. So it's very important for us right now to understand that the next stimulus package, the next stimulus check, it's going to be centered around the election. So we need to look at the polls just to kind of figure out what's going on and who's up, who's down, because that is going to be a real big deciding factor when it comes to the next stimulus check and the next stimulus package. But first off, on the channel, we talk about personal finance for travelers. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification so you can get future updates on my videos. All right, so I want to talk about the hazard pay first. So Amazon, and they've been giving hazard pay this whole time. So since March, they were giving $2 per hour more, and that was for people who worked in the warehouse, people who were delivery drivers, as well as people who work at Whole Foods. And so that's pretty good. I mean, they were at least doing something. Some companies were following suit, and they were doing a little hazard pay as well. We're still waiting on the government to try to figure out, are essential workers going to get any type of a bonus or anything like that? I think that they should, but right now we're in that wait and see pattern. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. But Amazon, they were doing it up until June. And so they stopped in June, but now they're going to be giving bonuses. So they're going to give a one-time bonus. And the way it's going to work is if you are a full-time employee at either Whole Foods, if you work in the warehouse, or if you're a delivery driver, you're going to get $500. That's for full-time employees. Part-time employees will get $250. If you are a manager at Whole Foods, then you're going to get $1,000. And if you are owner of one of the third-party delivery services that Amazon uses, then you'll get $3,000. So pretty interesting that they're doing this. I think it's a good thing. Obviously, we should be really rewarding these people who've been working this whole time. And I've said this before, it's pretty unfortunate that we're in a situation right now where I think that a lot of these people are going to get left out. A lot of the essential workers will get left out because there's been so much time in between where people were talking about this in May and really being appreciative of people who are essential workers working this whole time. But now that's kind of dying down. So by July, late July, there's probably not going to be much talk of it anymore because they're going to be saying, well, people should be going back to work and we'll give them bonuses, but we're not going to honor the people who were working this whole time. I think it's wrong. I think that there should be a real push for this. So if you are an essential worker, contact your Congress people. I have the numbers in the description. You can call them and let them know how you feel about it. I think we should be very appreciative of people who are working in the grocery stores and stuff like that, because you know as well as I do, grocery stores, it was a madhouse in the grocery stores. And so and I'm not just talking about grocery stores. I'm talking about people who work in hospitals and people, the first responders, police officers, firefighters. All those people need to be compensated because they were out doing the hard work while a lot of us had the opportunity to work from home. And so it's one of these situations where you really have to keep on these politicians about it, because they will conveniently forget about this and kind of work on some other things and put money into some other programs instead of where they should be putting the money. So I think it's something that really needs to be focused on. So now let's talk about this letter that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer sent to Mitch McConnell. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole letter for you. I will post a link so you guys can check the letter out for yourselves. But it's crazy because all they're asking for right now, I mean, and let's back up first so you kind of get an idea of everything that's going on. So May 15th, the House of Representatives, they passed a bill, the HEROES Act. They sent it over to the Senate, and it's been sitting in the Senate this whole time. And the interesting thing about this whole situation is all they're asking for in this letter is basically for them to act, just negotiate, start negotiations. That's all they want. And that hasn't even happened. So we spent all of June, both the House and the Senate were in session pretty much the whole month, and no negotiations took place. And that's why they put this letter out, like saying, hey, we need to start negotiations. What's going on? And it's very unfortunate because how can you spend a whole month, not even address a bill? It's been over a month and a half, not even address a bill, not even negotiate. I mean, you might not like the HEROES Act. That's fine. So start negotiating. Are you going to stay with the HEROES Act and take out the things that you don't want? Are you just going to not do anything with the HEROES Act and start a new negotiation? Do something. Talk about it. Mention it. Say, you know what? These things are they're not gonna fly, and these are the things that we want in there. That's fine. Start that negotiation, put those things in there and get it going. We already know you want liability protection. We already know, I mean, there's certain things that they've already put out there. So put those in the HEROES Act. Or if you don't want to do that, create your own bill. But the negotiations need to happen. Waiting until the end of July to start negotiations is ridiculous, because you're going to wait till the end of July, and now you have 10 days before July 31st, and we know enhanced unemployment will expire on that date. So why can't you start negotiation? You can pick up the phone right now, call Nancy Pelosi, call Chuck Schumer, say, hey, this is what we want. How can we work this out? It doesn't make any sense to me why this is going on. And I get it. It's politics, but we should not be dealing with politics right now in a situation like we're in right now. I mean, it's ridiculous, all the things that are going on right now in this country, that we can't even come together and say, okay, let's at least talk about it. That's all they're asking right now. Let's talk about it. You don't like the HEROES Act? Fine. You think it was full of pork? Fine. What do you want? Let's talk about it. That's all they're asking at this point. That's all they're asking in the letter. And let's talk about it this week before you go on recess. Now, we haven't heard anything from Mitch McConnell today, but we did hear last Friday that he is pretty much sticking to his guns of let's wait and see. We want to see what the jobs numbers look like this week, and then we'll go from there. But that is, you can still talk about things. There are things that are still going to happen regardless of the jobs numbers. We know enhanced unemployment is going to expire, so you should be talking about that. We know stimulus checks are now on the table. The president wants them. So you guys should be talking about that. I mean, there's so many different things that can be addressed right now. And the fact that they're not doing anything right now, not talking about it, not even negotiating, it just baffles my mind. And this is the perfect time to negotiate. You don't have to put anything to paper, but you could be talking about it. It's crazy to me. And I think when it comes down to it, the Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, I don't care how you feel about them as far as their beliefs and things like that, but right now they're showing that they want money for the people. They want direct payments for the people, and they should continue to put that out there every day. We know the president says he's on board with stimulus checks. They should continue to remind Mitch McConnell every day. Write a letter every day if you have to, just saying, hey, look, this is what the people want, and put it out there. Continue to put it out there. And maybe, it's definitely going to look bad on his part. I think right now people are looking at Mitch McConnell and saying, what's going on? You could at least negotiate, at least start talking. But I think if you just keep it going, then maybe something will happen in the future. And there's some other things that, another thing, the essential workers, I talked about that a little bit with the hazard pay. You could be negotiating that right now. Is that going to happen? Is it not going to happen? What is it going to look like? Back to work bonuses, that's something that you could still be talking about. These are things that they could be negotiating right now. Now, if you want to wait for the jobs numbers, that's fine, but you can still be talking about things. So if the jobs numbers are good, this is where we're going to go. If the jobs numbers are bad, this is where we're going to go. You could be discussing all that right now, and it's just not happening. And that just, I don't understand how how things are working like this. Like, how are we allowing government to work like this? And the fact that it is an election year, I think, is good, because a lot of these politicians need to be held accountable for this, because this is a time, and I've said this before, but we're in a time of crisis. This is when you see your real leaders, because the real leaders are going to step up and they're going to try to help you out. The people who are kind of standing in the background, those aren't your real leaders. The ones that don't want to make those tough decisions, don't want to get out there and show that they really want to help people, those are not real leaders. And so it's good that it's an election year, and hopefully people will remember this in November, and they get out, and when they're ready to place that vote, they think, okay, how was my congressperson? Where were they on this issue when it came to helping people in a crisis? We haven't seen a crisis like this ever before. At least in my lifetime, I've never seen anything like this. And for us to see this now and to see the response by our government, it's laughable. It really is. We are the most powerful country in the world, and we're seeing these other countries just do things that we're sitting on our hands, and they're doing stimulus checks coming out every month and really helping out businesses and completely funding businesses so they have enough to pay all their employees and keep their employees on their payroll. And we're struggling to find out what we're going to do next and if we're going to do anything next. Mitch McConnell is still on Friday. As of Friday, he's still not committing to another stimulus package. It's still up in the air. And if we do another stimulus package, so he's still not even on board for that. So let alone stimulus checks, he's not even fully committed when it comes to another stimulus package. Now, we know that the White House wants another stimulus package. We know that the House wants another stimulus package, but Mitch McConnell's he has still not pulled that lever down and said, hey, yeah, we're going to do another stimulus package. So after all of this, he's still there. I don't like going on these tangents, but I do have to put this out here so you guys know what's going on. So Mitch McConnell's talking about liability protection for businesses. So giving businesses protection. So when it comes to people going into their establishments or their employees, if they get COVID-19, they can't sue the establishment. Okay, so he's been talking about this liability protection since May, but he has not done anything about that. And now he's talking about, well, if there is another stimulus package. So if there's not another stimulus package, well, what are you going to do about liability protection? Is that going to be a separate bill? And if it's going to be a separate bill, then why didn't you get that bill taken care of a long time ago? You could have gotten it taken care of in May, and then that would have given businesses confidence to open back up. But you're not focusing on that. You're not doing anything about that. Same thing with the back to work bonuses. Although I don't completely agree with back to work bonuses, I think it kind of slights the people who are working, have been working this whole time. So if you don't have anything for essential workers, you shouldn't be giving people who are going back to work a bonus, because what are you saying to those people who have been working this whole time? But nonetheless, they've been talking about this back to work bonus. Where is it? Why didn't you create a bill this whole time? All June, you had to create a bill. If you wanted to do a separate bill, you could have done that, and it could have addressed the back to work bonus. And then it would allow people to be really encouraged to go back to work in this time. So it just baffles my mind how things work when it comes to the Senate. And I'm going to talk specifically about the Senate, because the House they made their move. Okay, now if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you don't like the HEROES Act, you don't like the HEROES Act. That's fine. You can take bits and pieces of that if you want to do that. But for you not to do anything in the Senate, just to sit there, that's just not acceptable. So let's talk about the poll numbers. Okay, this is Trump and Biden. I use the Real Clear Politics poll because they average a variety of different polls. So it's not just one poll. We know that you can skew a poll and pretty much make it the way you want it. But when it comes down to it, when you're looking at a variety of different polls and then you average those polls, it just gives you a better number overall. So right now, and as of last week, and every week I'm going to update you guys on the polls, but as of last week, Biden was plus 8.8. Okay. And that's the average of all the polls. And today he is up 9.2. So he's moved up even higher. So I know you're saying, why are you talking about polls? What does that have to do with the stimulus checks? Well, it has a lot to do with the stimulus checks, because if Trump is not doing well in the polls, as he drops lower and lower, he's going to want more and more when it comes to stimulus checks. And that number of the $1,200 could easily hit $2,000, because he's going to want to make sure that the people are happy when it comes to November. And so we saw, and I showed you in a video, and I'll post a link to that video, so it'll be right up here, but you can check it out, where the poll numbers shifted right after they signed the CARES Act. So that the last stimulus check that we had, the poll numbers for Trump and Biden evened out. And I was looking at just a Fox poll for that one, but it was interesting to see that. Now, when you look over time, they've gone back up. Biden's gone back up, and Trump has dropped. So it had a major effect. And so right now we're looking at a situation where Trump, he's looking at the polls. Now he can say, oh, well, the polls don't mean anything. And we saw in 2016, the polls were against me, but I won. This is a whole different situation. You're now the president. You've been the president for the last 3.5 years. People you have a record now. So people are looking at your record, and now they have because before it was really hard to know what your record was, what you stood for. And so a lot of people just kind of said, okay, well, I don't really know this person, but I know Hillary Clinton, so I'm more likely to vote for her. But now that you have a record, people can make a pretty informed decision when it comes to if they're going to vote for you or not. So the fact that these polls aren't looking good for him right now, it means a lot. Plus, he's an incumbent. So he should be favored. He should be favored over anyone that's coming in. And so that's another thing to think about. Usually the incumbent, they carry weight just because they're the incumbent. They've done it before. And so it will be interesting to see. And we need to watch the polls, because I know that we've been talking about the job numbers coming out this week, and that carries a lot of weight. The poll numbers are going to carry a lot of weight as well. So even though Trump might be saying, oh, I don't look at the polls and all that, he's looking at the polls. And as soon as polls come out, like with the Fox News poll, when it came out, he was on Twitter that same day, bad mouthing Fox News and all this stuff. So he's looking at the polls. And as that spread gets larger and larger, I'm telling you, the stimulus checks they're going to come quicker, and they're going to be larger, because he has to do something. And we could, I don't want to get your hopes up, but when you think about it, it would make sense for him to be pushing for monthly payments. And you had another senator that was talking about this. This senator is running for re-election as well. He was talking about monthly payments, and that's really crazy, right? Like monthly stimulus checks. But you might see the president start pushing for that, especially if we go into another situation right now where we see COVID-19 starting to increase again in some areas. And if states start shutting down again, then there's really a good push for monthly payments. So that's not completely a done deal at this point. The Senate might have some issues with it. Mitch McConnell might have some issues with it. But you do see, if you see a Republican senator that's coming out and he's for monthly payments, and then if you see a president for monthly payments, obviously the House is probably going to be on board with monthly payments. We might see something like that. I mean, that could happen. And I'm just saying, if the poll numbers continue to not be in the favor of the president, he might start looking that route. So just putting that out there to you guys. But I want to know what you guys think. So what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the hazard pay? Let us know down below. What do you think about the poll numbers? Do you think that, traditionally, the poll numbers they'll close up when it gets closer to the election. People will tune in a little bit more. And so you can say at this point, people aren't really tuned in. And so they're going to start tuning in, and then the numbers will get a little closer. But it does look bad for the numbers to be at almost double digits at this time. I mean, it's a pretty crazy situation to be in. Plus, with all the other things going on, it's really, really crazy. But let me know what you think about the poll numbers. And also let me know what you think about the letter. Do you think we should even be just starting a negotiation, just talking? Get on the phone. Hey, this is what I want. This is what you want, and kind of working things out. Do you think that should be happening right now? Or do you just think they should wait until July 21st when they both come back into session and then start the negotiations? Let me know what you think about that. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.